attached. Ooh, they're not supposed to have modems attached. So let me ask you a question. If a modem is attached to a DS200 tabulator or an election system, it violates critical election infrastructure. Okay? That's a problem. Election records. They removed critical information that showed the extent of the election crimes occurring in that office. Some of the things that they redacted were things like this. This is called a machine configuration report. This is a record that is automatically generated every time you turn on a tabulator. In Maryland, the entire state election bureau, the Board of Elections, in every single county there, said that they did not generate this public record. Well, guess what? They did, and they lied about it. And we caught them. So what is so important about the information that they redacted? Well, it's the handling of these blank ballots. And so what we identified in Texas, exactly where we could see this information in the audit logs. And we found a whole lot more. The information that we have obtained elsewhere helps us create a very interesting mosaic of this widespread election fraud mafia activity. All right, and it's a vast conspiracy, not just here in Florida, but elsewhere. But here in Florida, Julie Marcus is a member of an illegal lobbyist organization called the Florida Supervisors of Elections, Inc. This illegal and subversive organization actively lobbies and requests legislation that dramatically violates the rights of Maryland. Handed over the entire thing for the entire state free of charge because they know it's a public record of our election that they are required to give us by law. Now, this presents an interesting quandary for us here in Pinellas County and in Florida, right? Who here is aware that the concealment of election records and documents is a crime? It is a crime at the state level. It is a crime at the federal level, as is the interference with a voter casting a ballot and having their votes counted accurately. It's also a federal felony if it's related to a federal election. So what are they hiding? Anybody have any ideas? I do. I know what they're hiding. They're hiding the fact that the DS200 tabulators, okay, these things that were approved for use in our election had modems attached to them illegally that connected to the internet. And they lied about it. Julie Marcus lied about it. In Hillsborough County yesterday, I went to the logic and accuracy testing there, and we had, they get an F, not an F minus, by the way, but they get an F, or actually they get an A plus in treason over in Hillsborough. But what they did in Hillsborough, we paid $1,800 to get audit logs. The audit logs that they provided to us were not in their original digital format with the checksum and the digital signature for the voting machines. And guess what? They said, nope, you can't have it. Trade secret. National security critical election infrastructure. Copyright. This is the stuff that they're... So I asked them, what is in the greater public interest? The greatest public interest is in the fact that we know as voters that our votes and our ballots are being accurately cast and counted, right? Because after all, If you don't have the consent of the governed, you cease to be a legitimate government. And that's where we are today. So what we've been doing, we've been expanding our search. We expanded it out nationwide. I went and I targeted Maryland because the entire state of Maryland uses ES&S systems. And I made a request for the election summary reports, also called the EL45A report. I requested the precinct by precinct reports, also known as the EL30A report. And I requested the canvassing report, also known as the EL52. If a first grader can do it, why couldn't a Pinellas County judge understand that? I'm going to tell you why. Because that Pinellas County judge, her election was in question. Does anybody know if you are a judge, if you can preside over a case that directly impacts your election or your financial interests? No. Okay. All right. Now you're starting to get a little bit of an idea of what we've been dealing with here in Pinellas County. Now, these good people, Pinellas watchdogs, the Defend Florida people, they've been stonewalled, heavily stonewalled. I was heavily stonewalled here, but I was working on not just Pinellas County, I was working on all of Florida. And my counterparts in Lee County discovered some pretty crazy stuff. A lady by the name of Chris Quackenbush down in Lee County, she discovered this blank ballot thing. Now, I don't know if you know what a blank ballot is, but if you ask ChatGPT or if you ask a first grader what a blank ballot is, they're going to tell you it's a ballot that's blank, that there's no marks on it. Well, apparently, the machine manufacturers agree with that statement. So doesn't the United States Election Assistance Commission, and so doesn't Maria Matthews, the Director of Elections for Florida. However, Julie Marcus has her own definition, and it's a wrong definition. And so what they like to say a blank ballot is, they like to say it's a ballot page of a multi-page ballot that has not have any marks on it. Well, guess what? We found through extensive public records requests